Scientist Daleks are a specialised caste of Dalek that are bred to be scientifically minded and are tasked with managing all science-related fields in the Dalek Empire: weapons design, bioweapons testing, genetic engineering, research into enemy flora and fauna, and many other tasks. Generally speaking, Scientist Daleks were kept away from frontline duties, and they developed a reputation for being more concerned with their individual research and experiments than with general Dalek operations. Unusually for Dalek ranks, Scientist Daleks appeared to possess a significant degree of autonomy, perhaps as a means of facilitating their effectiveness at running experiments and thinking scientifically. However, this had the unintended side effect of causing certain Scientist Dalek units to question the orders of their superiors if they got in the way of their research. One of the earliest known and most infamous Dalek scientists was Dalek Zeg, the Dalek inventor who was experimenting with ways of combating metal fatigue and, due to a freak accident in his laboratory, accidentally invented metal earth, which made his casing stronger. However, a side effect of the accident also caused Zeg to feel dynamic emotions, and he challenged the Emperor for leadership of the Dalek race. Zeg and the Emperor duelled, but despite putting up a fierce fight, Zeg was ultimately outwitted by the Emperor and destroyed. As the Dalek hierarchy expanded, the Dalek Scientific Division was created to manage scientific operations across the Empire. The Scientific Division was led by a Dalek Chief Scientist, who in certain situations had authority equal to that of a Supreme Dalek, or at least was considered just as valuable by the Emperor Dalek. The Dalek Scientific Division led many clandestine operations in the period of Dalek history between the Second Dalek War and the Time War, mostly involving exploiting the peoples or resources of conquered planets to create horrendous weapons of war for the Daleks to use to further their crusade against all life in the universe. When Dalek scientists weren't working on creating new plagues, weapons, or defenses for their war machine, they would spend their time experimenting on captured prisoners to learn more about their enemies, and scanning conquered planets to find new resources to exploit to bring new technologies to the Dalek regime. Dalek scientific research detachments were active on planets such as Spyridon, Kar-Sharat, Kemble, Mordila, and asteroid Theta 12. The detachment on Spyridon was tasked with harvesting the indigenous lifeform's ability of invisibility, while simultaneously developing a bioweapon to destroy them. After the Battle of Mordila, the Scientist Dalek of the Dalek Time Squad extracted and weaponized lifeforms from the Dark Times to use against the Dalek's enemies, and during the Time War, a detachment of the Dalek Scientific Division were working on a project that was completely outside the purview of the Emperor or the Supreme Council. They essentially went rogue and began experimenting with ways to de-evolve Dalek mutants back into Khaleds as a means of escaping the Time War. When they were eventually discovered by High Command and refused to stop their experiments, the results went exactly how you'd expect. Although as cruel and vicious as any other Daleks, Scientist Daleks are among the most likely to go against the instructions of Dalek High Command due to their nature as scientists. There are many examples of Dalek scientists breaking from the Dalek way: Dalek Zeg, the Dalek Overseer, the Dalek scientists on Theta 12, the Dalek scientist of the Time Squad who made compromises with the Eighth Doctor, and of course Dalek Sec, who was a scientist both before and during his tenure as leader of the Cult of Skara. All of these Daleks have displayed some degree of deviation from the Dalek norm. The most recent iteration of Dalek Scientist in the Dalek rank structure is the Orange Daleks of the New Dalek Paradigm. These scientists are rarely seen and we don't really know much about them, but many were present in the Paradigm's rebuilt city of Kalan, and it can be assumed that Scientist Daleks are present at Dalek facilities across their territory, whether they be Orange Paradigm Daleks or Scientist Daleks of a different variety. Overall, despite their secluded role working in the background of Dalek operations and their tendency to deviate from the Dalek norm, the importance of Scientist Daleks in the Dalek hierarchy cannot be understated. Through the Scientist caste, the Dalek race learns from its enemies, adapts and, slowly but surely, evolves over time. Scientist Daleks study Dalek defeats to eliminate potential weaknesses, and they are always at the forefront of pioneering new Dalek technologies, be they enhancements to the pre-existing Dalek design or devastating weapons to exterminate the Dalek's enemies. What do you think of the Scientist Daleks? What's your favourite individual Scientist Dalek from the TV show, comics, novels or Big Finish audios? Do you think we'll see more specialised Scientist Daleks in the future? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bombs.